Hi, all my BG First kiddos and anybody out there that's listening. I miss you guys so much. I was thinking about it today. I still can't wait to get a hold of you, give you some hugs and some fist bumps and all that good stuff. I'm going crazy here in this house, but I miss you a lot. And I know Miss Chelsea misses you a lot, but we want you to know that we're thinking about you and we love you, and of course you're being prayed for too. So, our object lesson today. Of course, I was looking on Pinterest again because that's where I look. And this one comes from creativebiblestudy.com. And we're going to do an object lesson with a Sharpie. That's right, just one little old Sharpie. That's what we're using today for our object lesson. Now, I have written my name on this piece of paper 3 different times. The first one's in pencil. The second one is in pen, and the third one is with a Sharpie. Which one do you think stands out the most? I'm going to step back here and take a look and see what you all see. Oh, yeah. I don't know about you, but I think this Sharpie is the one that stands out. It's the most bold, right? The Sharpie's really bold and it stands out. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. But so that reminds me of a certain person in the Bible and a verse that goes with it. So Paul wrote in Galatians that he was living out loud for Jesus, living out loud for God. And he left a huge mark on the world wherever God placed him. Paul just went from place to place and he was telling people about God and Jesus, and that's what he did. And so he left that mark on the world, wherever God placed him. So I'm going to read Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. All right. It says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. And the life that I now live in my body, I live by faith. Indeed, by my faithfulness of God's Son, who loved me and gave himself for me. Wow. Paul's really living out loud. What this verse is saying is that when you ask Jesus into your heart and into your life, you're going to leave that old life behind and those old habits behind. And you're going to live for and with Jesus, because Jesus is going to live in you, with you. He's going to mold you and change you into the person he wants you to be. Now, when we do a public recognition of you ask Jesus into your heart, that's called being baptized. And when you're baptized, we call it being born again. You're a born again Christian. You dunk underneath the water, hold your nose like this, you come back up, and you're all soaking wet. We call that being born again. It's a symbolism of leaving that old life behind, and you're going to continue and start a new, fresh life with Jesus. Now, being born again, I guess I should back up with that. Doesn't mean you're going to die, and then you're coming back to life, and your little baby, and then you're growing back up again to live with Jesus. We're just leaving that life behind, and we're continuing on. We're starting a new life. All right. So, if we're going to live out loud, we might want to know what the definition of living is. The definition of living is being alive, not dead, being active, thriving, and glowing. That's the Webster's definition of living. And it sounds really exciting. Now, how do we apply that for living out loud for Jesus? Well, the definition of living, again, being alive, not dead, active, thriving, glowing? Is that how we're living? Are we living alive, active, thriving, glowing with Jesus, for Jesus? Do people see Jesus in you? Well, if we trust Jesus, what are we afraid of? If we trust him, what are we afraid of? I know that sometimes we get a little nervous because we feel Jesus telling us that we need to do something. Well, it's the Holy Spirit working in us. Sometimes my heart starts racing, my palms get real sweaty, and I just, really, really nervous. But that's the Holy Spirit telling me, I need you to say it. Jesus is using the Holy Spirit to say, stand up and tell people about me. Do what I'm asking you to do. Well, living out loud doesn't have to be loud. It just needs to be real. Be real for Jesus. Show some love. Show some of Jesus' love to people. To everyone. Let them see that in you. Whether it's in your actions, the way you're speaking, how you're treating others, how you're playing with your friends. Let people see Jesus in you. You know what? This thought just hit me. When we do VBS at church, all of you that have been in my group at VBS, we memorize our Bible verses at the beginning, at the start of the VBS day, and we continue to learn them till the very end. But when we go outside and we read or we say our Bible verse out loud together, did we just say it normal? We don't say it normal. We scream it to the top of our lungs because we want everybody around us to hear it, right? It's just for a week. They can tolerate us for a week, right? Well, maybe you and your family memorize some Bible verses together. Maybe during some of your study time and there's a verse that you all really like. Or let your parents pick out something for you all to study. Go outside as a family and shout out loud that Bible verse. It feels so silly at first, but then it's so fun because in this case, we really are being loud, living out loud for Jesus. It's up to you. You do what you want. But if you're going to go outside and shout, maybe you can take a video of that. We still would love to see some of your videos coming in of what you're doing and what you're learning. So that comes to my challenge for you all this week. The Sharpie. It was the most bold. It's the one that stood out the most. The Sharpie. Carry this Sharpie with you for a week. Or lay it somewhere in your house that you and your family can see. Let this be a reminder for you to live out loud. Okay? To be bold and to live out loud. So your challenge, live out loud for Jesus. Okay? Live out loud for Jesus. Stand out from the crowd. Stand out from everyone else to make a permanent, but positive mark on the world around you. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I love you so much. I'm going to go grab Olivia. We're going to memorize a verse, and we're going to go scream outside. That's right. That's what we're going to do. All right. I love you guys. Have a good rest of your week. Bye.